Is groomzilla a thing? Because after this video, it might be, you guys. Girls are not the only crazy ones. I am flipping the script. Is that the saying? Flipping a switch or flipping a script? I don't even know, but you are used to seeing bridezillas, entitled brides. We got some grooms. He slapped a bridesmaid's butt and said, it's okay, what the groom wants, the groom gets. Yo, let me just tell you, if anybody, groom or not, slapped my butt as a bridesmaid, frickin' WWE SmackDown. I don't think so. Imagine being the bride. That's my man. You slap her butt. Like, I don't understand how he even has a girlfriend, let alone a wife. I went to the US for my cousin's wedding. I met her groom and he asked what I do for a living. I said, oh, right now I'm just at home with my kids. Before I could get another word in, he said, oh, so you're a freeloader? Awesome. You must be loving the $500 plate we put out for you tonight, but I'm sure your gift won't reflect that. Then he proceeded to tell the photographer, no photo for this one. 1, I was on maternity leave. 2, their envelope had $1,000 in it. Thank God I went to meet him before putting their card in the card box. I went to the bathroom and made sure the gift reflected my freeloading personality. I'm never gonna see him again in my life, so his idea of me doesn't matter. Plus, I'd rather save some money and use it for my 2 kids, moron. Facts. Oh, I'm so proud that you did that because my petty ass would have done the same thing. Hell yeah, I probably would have literally handed it to the bride, who was my cousin, told her what happened and said, I took out half because I don't think he deserves it. There you go. Good luck with your marriage. Toodles. I know a groom who believes in transactional relationships. He spends with his heart, but his mentality is that if he spent a certain amount, then he's entitled to ask for it to be reciprocated without a care for the other person's financial situation. He bought his wife to be a Louis Vuitton bag, Tiffany ring, and designer gown for their wedding day. Holy moly. So he emailed his soon-to-be father-in-law a long list of demands. He wanted the father-in-law to greet each male wedding guest with a designer watch and each female wedding guest with a designer clutch. He also said he needed a specific designer suit for the reception paid for or else he wouldn't show. I mean, this whole thing is absurd. Oh my God. I don't even think I could afford one of the items listed. My wife and I went to a wedding recently. We had some drinks in the same hotel on Saturday night while another wedding was going on. The other wedding's guests were absolutely tanked. A total mess. We arrived the following day about 1 p.m. and there was a guy in the bar bladdered off his nut from the night before. I then overheard, he was not a quiet man, him tell the barman that he was the groom from the previous night and his bride had already left him. He was not sure who to take on the honeymoon and surely his trouble was worth a pint. The last part raised my suspicions about it just being a play for more booze, but the news kept coming via other wedding guests and the staff. It turns out he had shagged a bridesmaid on the wedding night and the bride had left their room at 1:30 a.m. and gone home. The marriage was over before it began. I honestly don't get it. Well then, this is more than just an entitled groom, it's a cheater. We got a cheater in the chat. And shame on the bridesmaid, because if you're chosen to be a bridesmaid, that means you have a close relationship to the bride. Shame. My uncle, first, he guilted my ex-aunt into having their wedding across the country where his family was, despite them living and having their family and friends on the West Coast. Because of this, their wedding guests were all his family and high school friends, and just a handful of her family members were there. He also completely let my grandmother, his mother, have her way over the entire ceremony and reception and insisted they get married in a church. My aunt was atheist and he hadn't been to church in close to 10 years. He had a dry reception but snuck off to drink in the bathroom, threw other people out of the wedding for cover drinking, and saw nothing wrong with the fact that my grandmother gifted him and the bride's separate gifts. His wife's gift was a vacuum and his was sports merchandise. I mean, honestly, this whole thing just sounds like a huge contradiction. I haven't been to church in 10 years, but I demand we get married in a church. I demand we have a dry wedding, but I'm gonna sneak off and have alcohol. Like, make it make sense. Let's talk about all grooms and their families who still believe in being entitled to a dowry in this century. My cousin in India has been divorced twice, and he told his marriage suitor, who's only been divorced once herself, that because she's a divorcee, her family must purchase a car for them to have in their marriage in his name and 10 kgs of pure gold bricks. He told the family if she wasn't a divorcee, then he'd be okay with just the car. Her family obliged. This was in 2021. He divorced her and kept everything. His father-in-law had a heart attack from his daughter now being a 2-time divorcee and thinking about what he'll have to give to the third suitor. Obviously, I don't understand. This is a cultural thing. It's owed to the suit. You owe them this? Thinking about what he'll have to. Oh, I get it. So her dad had a heart attack because he just gave him, the ex-husband, all these things, and now he's like, oh my god, my daughter's gonna have to get married again and I'm gonna have to give all this other stuff to the new suitor. This is a tragic story. Oh my god, marriage should not be about that. I used to serve and bartend at weddings at a high-scale banquet center. One groom utilized his toast to tell his guests not to tip the staff, as he already paid the gratuity that was included in the bill to the venue. He was terrible to the staff and ignored his bride the whole night. When the photo booth was doing last calls, his bride asked for help finding him so they could do pictures. Staff found him doing an illegal substance, we'll say, in the parking lot, and the bride ended her wedding night crying. She was so sweet. I felt terrible she was marrying that a-hole. I don't know. I understand you paid the gratuity within your bill, but to announce in front of the staff and tell other people don't tip them, like, it's not your money that you're spending. If your guests are enjoying your wedding and they appreciate the staff and stuff, who cares if they're tipping them? It's not coming out of your pocket. My fiance and I am 23, got engaged. Man, 23 and people are engaged? Like, do what you want. That is your life. I'm just like, oh, I'm just sitting here at 30 being like, got engaged in March 2022 and immediately set our wedding date for my mid-July 2023 wedding because we're both teachers. Oh, your wedding is coming up next month. My only cousin, he's 36, got his girlfriend pregnant in October and then got engaged to her. This is his third engagement. He had the nerve to ask us to move our wedding because the baby is due at the very end of June and he won't be able to come to our wedding if we have it on the original day in July. He also has not set a date for his wedding, but still wants to get married before me because I'm so much younger than him. He wants us to delay our wedding to after whatever date he sets just so he can say he got married before me. Okay, well, you just focus on you and your beautiful wedding, and who cares? I would say, like, I respect your opinion and I politely decline. Thank you so much and congratulations. Simple conversation, truly. For me, anyway. So this was a very small and informal wedding I went to last summer. We were all dressed rather casual and there was beer and board games. That sounds sick. I was cozy. It could have been a bit more formal, but I wouldn't shame the wedding for just that. The couple already had their ceremony during COVID times and just wanted to celebrate again with those dear to them. However, it totally felt like I was at the groom's birthday party and not at their wedding. One issue was the guests. The bride's parents weren't there, but the groom's parents, grandmother, and siblings were with their partners. They all came. He also invited his friends from school and some online friends they shared, but there was not one friend that was only hers. My boyfriend was the only one there that knew her as long as her husband, so we kept her company at the beginning while people congratulated him, but kind of ignored her. Well, that's terrible. Did we ask her why? Did we ask her, like, did she invite people and they couldn't make it? Or, like, was it made to be that she couldn't have people there? I'm glad she had you guys. Board games, though, sounded really fun. Like, is it trashy to have beer pong at your wedding? Asking for a friend. My friend married a dude we all couldn't stand. Though we tried to warn her that he was high maintenance. Whenever we'd ask her about wedding plans, she'd say, oh, I don't care. Steve is taking care of all that. This included the flower colors and arrangements and seating charts. I'm sorry, but how many dudes do you know who would give a crap about the flower arrangements at their weddings? Not many. My husband only cared about what our food options were and if we could have a certain special beer from his home state served at the reception. This friend had no say in most of her wedding plans other than what she wore on her body that day. To make matters worse, a different friend got married at the same venue the following year, and good old Steve spent the whole time comparing the two weddings to anyone who would listen. Ew, that's tacky. I do think, though, that if your man wants to be involved in the flower picking and the planning, you guys should totally do that as a couple. I'm not opposed. I think it should be a discussion. It's your wedding day for both of you. You guys are paying. This is your life. I would love to, like, co-plan equally with your partner. But I do get there is a lot of men out there that are just like, I haven't spent my whole life thinking about my wedding day, so babe, if you want those flowers, get those flowers. Where to start? Well, that's always a great start. That means there's a lot. He refused to let the bride make a single choice in the wedding, including the dress and venue. Then, during the reception, the bartender fell and broke his leg. The bride is a first responder, so she instantly went into work mode. She made sure he was stable and conscious until the ambulance arrived. The groom was mad about it. She said he wouldn't even let her pick their wedding song because he knew what they should dance to. I can't imagine this is a normal relationship. Oh wait, it's me! I'm the bride! It sucks being married to him. Girl, you still got married to him? He's a control freak and I made a huge mistake. Too late now though, because we have kids. Girl, it's not too late. It's not too late. I'm not trying to encourage divorce, but you get one life and you deserve to be happy and you deserve to be loved the way you deserve and you deserve to be treated respectfully and kindly and you deserve to be happy. I get it. I get it. When you get married, you don't want to go through a divorce. It sucks. No one goes and gets married thinking they're gonna go through divorce, but life is too freaking short. I'm not staying in a miserable marriage. Hell no. Probably why I'm 30 and I'm not married or even engaged. Y'all take it slow. I need to see if we're even gonna be partners, you know? Because I ain't trying to get divorced. I'm trying not to be miserable either. I went to a wedding last night and it started off great, but then a bunch of awkward crap happened. The DJ butchered the bridal party's names and even the bride and groom's last name when they did their entrance. During their first dance, the groom was visibly uncomfortable and kept saying, I don't dance, and I don't like to dance. You could easily read his lips. Then he disappeared for majority of the evening. When he would make an appearance, he and bride would have some words and they were very visibly fighting. Then he'd walk off and go smoke. This happened on and off all night. I get that wedding days are stressful, but it's still your special day and you should at least enjoy your first dance with your partner. It made me so sad for the bride. That just makes me sad in general. I cannot imagine spending my wedding day arguing. How awful. Like, what a waste of a beautiful day. And it only happens once in your life, they say, but like sometimes not. Sometimes you get married more than once. But you know what I mean. It's the special aspect that you're hoping and planning on it only happening once in your life. Before the wedding, the groom was not okay with the bride being walked down the aisle. He refused to stand at the end of the aisle and instead tried to insist that she needed to walk first alone and wait for him so that he could walk down the aisle last and have a grand entrance. Oh, you ain't taking my grand entrance from me. They apparently compromised because they walked down the aisle last and together. He also stated before the wedding that the wedding weekend was about him and the boys. She was excited to get her nails done, but when she showed them to him, he said they didn't look good and wouldn't match her outfit. They were a neutral color that matched. During the rehearsal, he gave no input and instead sat down and shrugged. I'm just confused as to how people are marrying these men. And like, I get you want to have I think men should have a grand entrance at their wedding, but don't they walk down first alone? I understand some grooms won't walk down the aisle and they come from the side, but I've seen some grooms before the wedding party starts and the ceremony, the groom walks down the aisle by himself and he goes up to the front. That is a grand entrance. You are the first out there in front of everybody. Everyone sees you first. Like, that's gotta be exciting too. Like, I wonder why that is. Does anyone know why that's a tradition? Like, why is the man waiting at the altar for the bride rather than like walking down together or something? Is there meaning behind it? Anyways, it's been a while since I've read some entitled Grooms. I'm out of here though, you guys. Stay classy out there, stay sassy, and I'll see you tomorrow.